super intensive, 2 terms in 5 months, and based on that you are allotted the specialization and campus. We had around 30 to 35 different nationalities in just one batch. International business course, I would say it's not for the faint-hearted. I stayed in 5 different Airbnbs in 1 year. These 7 lakhs positives that I was getting from it outweighed this extra cost. It was the most unimaginable, surreal experience of my life.
What's up everybody, TIMVIX here and welcome to my YouTube channel, and say hello to Himanshu. Welcome.
Hello everyone.
Thank you so much Himanshu for joining me for this video.
Thanks man, the pleasure is all mine. I feel so lucky to be here.
Oh no man, absolutely. I totally appreciate it. And I think we were discussing about this for a long time. We wanted to have this conversation.
Finally we are doing this.
Much awaited. Me and Himanshu, we met at ESCP.
Yeah.
The only difference is that I was at ESCP as a full-time MIM student, whereas Himanshu joined ESCP as an exchange student from MDI Gurgaon.
It was an international business program, a dual degree management program. So it was split into 2 halves, one with MDI Gurgaon, where you get MBA degree, and one with ESCP Business School, where you are supposed to do your MIM degree.
If you had to sum up your experience, because you have already graduated and you're doing a full-time job now, which we will get to in a second video, but just to sum it up, how was your experience? It
was the most unimaginable, surreal experience of my life. I didn't really know what I was getting into, because before I joined this program, I didn't even know this program existed. So you wouldn't believe me, the day I got the admit saying that Himanshu, you have been selected for the program, I didn't even know what this international business program was. I had absolutely no idea. I didn't even know that it was a dual degree program and you are supposed to go to Europe for your MIM degree. So for me it was all like a blank slate. I didn't even know what to expect, but at the end it turned out to be such an amazing experience, studying in 2 countries, meeting people from across the world, studying with the best professors, and traveling and exploring Europe. It was absolutely amazing.
That's a great thing, man. Once you give CAT and you get the scores, you apply to MDI and you choose in advance that you want to do the MBA, traditional MBA program, or
international business.
Right.
So when you are giving your CAT for MDI, you have to apply separately. You have to fill out a separate application, and during that application, they ask you to fill your choices. So at MDI, they offer 3 courses: PGDM, which is traditional MBA; PGDM-IB, international business, the course I did; PGDM-HRM for human resource management.
Specifically focused on
human resource. So you do your first 2 terms at MDI, starting from July, August. Term 1, term 2 MDI. Super intensive, 2 terms in 5 months.
Wow.
And those 2 terms are equivalent to 1 year of your MBA. Because when you come to ESCP in January, you come as a second-year student. So it's super intensive. I'm not exaggerating, but all of us, we were spending roughly 15-16 hours per day on average, with classes, with stuff related to councils and placecom activities, so much. Dealing with our visa stuff, dealing with French language classes and all that. So you come to ESCP in January, beginning of January. So you start your term 3, spring semester, at your allotted campus. And the campus is allotted in your second term at MDI. So they ask you for a preference. For example, your spring term, they ask you to fill 5 choices. Which campus, which course, which specialization. You have to pick 5 choices out of that whole list. 5 choices for spring semester and 5 for fall semester. And based on that, they have a scoring criteria at ESCP. And based on that, you are allotted the specialization and campus. So we come here in January, we do our term 3 at your allotted campus. Starting from April, you are supposed to do a mandatory internship. Which is for 8 to 10 weeks minimum mandatory internship. But usually, I mean, in Europe, it's very difficult to find an internship for 8 to 10 weeks. And in total, we have a time of roughly 5 months from April till the end of August to do internship.
Oh, that's a very tricky period. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because most of the internships are offered for 6 months.
Yeah.
But then it's not impossible. This is something you can negotiate. Yeah. So this is what I did. For example, in my case, I negotiated with my company that I will do 5 months of full time, and then I will do part time after that.
Which I must say that is not very common.
It's not very common.
It's not very common. I would say that you're very lucky that you were able to like find an internship and you were able to come up with an agreement with the school, and the company.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's really great. But if you're expecting that you would also find an opportunity like that, you might. Don't depend on it completely.
Exactly. But even after that, I mean, even with this challenge of not having the full 6 months, I can assure you most of the students in our batch were able to find an internship, either in Europe or in India.
What do you think are some of the challenges that you faced as a exchange student compared to like full-time student?
Yeah, so I would say compared to full-time ESCP students, so as this course is quite specific, it's not a full-time MBA in India, it's not a full-time MIM at ESCP, it's somewhere in between. So I would say compared to full-time ESCP students, we are not mentally prepared for the challenges that will come. We knew about some of the challenges from our seniors, but we didn't know the full extent of the challenges we will face. For example, challenges with the visa, with the language, with the internship. And on top of that, I would say the full-time MIM course here, MIM course at ESCP, you have, I would say, much more time than us, because your normal course, it's 2 years full-time, but then most of you take 1 year gap in between. So it's a bit more mellow, it's a bit more slow, it's a bit more relaxed, and you have time to think about a lot of things, manage things.
Yeah. So you don't get the opportunity to take a gap, is it?
Not at all.
No?
There's no concept of gap in this international business course.
Okay. So for the people who are watching this and are not aware, when you're a full-time ESCP student, your course is for like 2 years, but you have the opportunity to finish the course in 4 years, which means you are allowed to take like 2 years of gap.
Wow.
And during the gap, you can work, you can do internships, you can travel, do whatever basically, but you still retain your student status. So you're right. I mean, if financially you have the backing, it's a very comfortable thing. You're not like in a hurry to finish things off.
Right.
But if you don't have the opportunity to take a gap, it's hard.
So our overall, this international business course, it's not, I would say it's not for the faint-hearted. It is, I'm not going to lie.
It's not for the faint-hearted.
I'm not going to lie, it's going to be super challenging, because you are practically doing 2 masters in less than 2 years. So you start your course in August, you end your course in end of March, so it's not even 2 full years, and you are doing two degrees into less than 2 years in 2 countries, or sometimes even in more than 2 countries.
Okay.
So overall, it's going to be super intense, and you will be facing challenges from ESCP, you will be facing challenges from MDI, and you have to manage all that.
Both. Yeah. So the first challenge is the time crunch.
The time crunch, yeah.
And the second, when you said visa, like what kind of challenge are you talking about?
So for the visa thing, I would say it's managed in a way by a school, by MDI.
Okay.
So they get in contact with Campus France, who are managing the visa stuff. So they have a session with us in our second term at MDI, where they ask for all the documents and everything. But at the end, sometimes for some people, if I remember correctly, in my batch, especially for people who were coming to Berlin, it was super difficult to get an appointment at the embassy.
Okay.
So some of the students were not even able to come in January. They came in February or even March.
Okay. But I mean, already there's time crunch, and then if you delay it, it's even more harder.
So, but for us, I would say we were the COVID batch. So we were lucky and unlucky at the same time. Lucky with the thing that we had some of the visa issues, but because the classes were online, so they were able to manage that while taking classes in India.
Okay.
But if the classes were happening offline and you had this visa issue, then things would become much harder.
More complex. Okay.
Right.
I think the visa aspect is more or less similar to full-time students as well. It's not very different case for us. The only difference is that we know it a bit in advance that we have to go, so we can start preparing everything and a bit before. But in the end, it's the same appointment, it's the same campus, France.
Yeah.
So it's we are in the same boat when it comes to that.
Right.
But I think also in terms of housing.
So yeah,
when you come here, trying to find a house to stay, trying to get your paperwork sorted, I think those things are very common for both MDI exchange students and also for full-time MIM students.
Right. I think one of the things that I would say is different, might be different for us is, for example, for housing. So as an MDI exchange IB student, you know you are going to stay at one campus, for example, from January till end of March, but then your internship, you don't know.
You don't know, yeah.
You might be doing your internship in France, in Germany, in a different country altogether in Europe, or even in India. Cannot really take 1 year of housing contract because you don't know if you're going to stay there for 1 year. So most of us, what we do is we stay in Airbnbs.
Okay.
That's what I did. For example, in my case, during my 1 year, if I remember correctly, I stayed in 5 different Airbnbs in 1 year.
Wow, man, that's crazy. 5.
5. So every 2 or 3 months, we were taking all our suitcases. So all of us had 3 big suitcases, obviously, and we were taking all that and we were shifting from one to different places.
Crazy.
The thing is, you are not doing all this alone. You have the support of your entire batch.
Yeah.
So it's around 100, 120 MDI students who come to Europe together.
Okay.
And one of the biggest positive of this course is the batch is united because we are facing all these challenges together.
Same issues, yeah.
We are in the same boat.
Let's come to the fun part.
Yeah.
What were the things that you absolutely enjoyed during your study period?
Oh man, there were a lot. For me,
I know one of the biggest things you absolutely enjoyed was traveling. Because you are a big traveler, and if you guys don't know this already, I'm going to put his Instagram on the description below. And Himanshu travels a lot, and when I say a lot.
Yeah.
So okay, traveling, yes, and.
Yeah. For me, that was a huge deal because I had always been super passionate about traveling, but in India I was not really able to do that because of restrictions from my parents and so on. And when I came here, when I truly became independent, I felt like coming out of my cocoon and just having to explore the world.
Okay, let's say if there's someone who's not as big of an enthusiast as you in terms of traveling. Would you still recommend them to take this course?
For sure. I mean, traveling is one of the, I would say, like a side advantage that comes with it.
Okay.
The biggest advantage, I would say, of this course, I mean, there are a lot of advantages. First one, right there, you get 2 degrees at the end, which is, for me, it's a big advantage. So you get your MBA degree for MDI and you get your MIM degree from ESCP. And you're not just studying at any business school. You're studying at the oldest business school in the world, and today you are studying at the 4th best MIM school in the world. So it's a great school to study at.
It's a proud ESCP student moment.
I'm super proud about ESCP, man. Yeah. So you get 2 degrees from 2 top business schools in the world. For sure, a big advantage. Then second big advantage for me is you have the security of getting a job in India because your final placements is common with the PGDM folks in India. So it's not like if you don't get a job here, you won't get a job. 100% you will get a job in India. And not just any job, you will get a job in the top companies. Because the final placements are the same, and MDI in India, it's one of the most reputable colleges for MBA. But if not that, with your MIM degree here, and if you had done an internship here, you have a real shot of getting a job here as well.
Okay.
It's not going to be as easy as getting a job in India because in India, the placements are conducted by the placement committee, by the campus, and companies come to you. You don't have to go to the companies. But here you have to manage everything on your own.
By yourself,
so it's going to be challenging. And overall, I would say studying in such a global setting, in an international setting, If I have to give you an example, I had one of the consulting courses where the professor during the first class, he asked us to give introductions. So basically, what's your name, where you came from? And it was a batch of 70 people, and we had around 30 to 35 different nationalities in just one batch.
Oh, that's beautiful. Huh?
So you are truly studying in an international environment, global environment. And all this, it prepares you to become a global manager if that's something you want. Which is something that's truly respected by the companies these days, that you have a global mindset, you have studied in multiple countries, you have worked in multiple countries. But it's not for everyone, I would say. I mean, if you have ever thought about living outside, giving it a shot just to see what it feels like, if it's something for you, I would say this course sits in the perfect bracket, because at the end you have both choices. You can easily go back to India, get a great job, same as traditional MBA, but then if your mind is set to take a job here and to live your life in Europe, you can do that as well. One of the best things for me about ESCP, particularly about the academics, was the kind of courses that ESCP was offering compared to the traditional MBA. You will never find in any of the MBA schools in India the kind of courses that ESCP offers. So, for example, some of the courses that I did, design fiction, negotiation bootcamp, design thinking, all these like new upcoming courses which you can only find here in Europe. And the free track gave me this freedom to pick my own courses.
Great. I would just like to add to this what you said, that if you're someone, like you said, if you're someone who has never ventured out and you want to experience it first before you commit to it,
exactly,
I think this is a great opportunity.
Right.
But if you're someone who is already very clear with what they want, and if you're someone who has decided that no, I want to live outside, I want to at least for, let's say, the next couple of years, you want to stay outside, work there. In that case, I think full-time would be a better option than taking this course. Would you agree with me on that?
I think I would agree, because at the end, if you look at the numbers, most of the MDI students from this international business course end up taking a job in India. I think because, I mean, it's a very personal thing, but since it's much easier to do that, and like you said, if you have already set up your mind that you want to take a job outside, you want to live outside, then if I were that person, I would go for a full-time MIM from Europe, because then you don't have a safety net to fall back to.
Exactly. You're burning the bridge. You're burning the bridge, and also if you're mentally prepared, you would start preparing for other things in advance as well. In terms of language, in terms of lifestyle, everything you'd start preparing in advance.
Right.
And also in terms of visas, you don't have that time crunch. So you're more spaced out. You're well spaced out, so you have the time and flexibility to go and search for more opportunities, which would be a bit tricky if you're coming with this program.
For sure.
In terms of finances, is there like a big difference between the international business one and the traditional MBA one?
Traditional MBA from India, the tuition fees, I'm only talking about the tuition fees, it's around 24-25 lakhs in that range, rupees. And international business, it's around 28 lakhs.
Okay.
So it's not a big difference, you'd see. I mean, all of us are, most of us are anyway doing financing, so we take loans. So if you look in the long term, it's not a big difference. The only additional thing for this international business course is for sure your living cost, living expenses here.
And that would be plus how much approximately?
Approximately, I would say, if you live here for 1 year, 1 full year, if you don't go back to India during your internship phase, you can expect to pay somewhere around 800 to 1,000 euros per month. If you do a 5 to 6 months of internship, you can earn anywhere between, I would say, 5 to 7 lakhs. So you are offsetting a lot of that living cost with your internship here.
I think once you start doing a paid internship, it makes your life much more easier here.
So in overall sense, you can expect to pay maybe, let's say, 25 lakhs in a traditional MBA. And with your internship here, maybe you'll pay 32 lakhs, maximum 35 lakhs. But you have to think this from a long-term perspective. because if you are taking financing, you'll be taking a loan. So at the end, you will get a good job, you will pay off your loan, and it's these 5-7 lakhs. For me, it's at least this. I mean, this is a personal thing. Maybe it's a big difference for somebody else out there. For me, it was not such a big gap. The positives that I was getting from it outweighed this extra cost.
Yeah. I think you answered pretty much all the questions I had, and I think not just me, also for the people who are watching this video.
Right.
So if you have some other questions, do not hesitate to drop them in the comments below. And also I'll be sharing your LinkedIn and Instagram.
I think if you want to reach me, I'm most reachable on Instagram. I'm not going to lie. It's hard to reach me on LinkedIn. I'm not so much active there.
Okay. Appreciate the honesty.
Connect me on Instagram. I would for sure reply to you.
Perfect. And also do realize that he's doing a full-time job and he's not getting paid to answer your questions. So do your research first. Don't ask the questions for which you can find the answers on the website. Do your research and ask the specific questions for which you're not able to find the answers. Thank you so much, man, for your time.
Thank you so much, man. It was such a pleasure.
Likewise. Yeah, that's all for this video. I hope you found this video to be useful. If you did, then hit that like button, consider subscribing, and we will catch up with you all in the next one. Till then, goodbye.
Goodbye, guys. Yeah.